Ooh, papa, ooh, papa, ooh, papa, ooh, papa. Sweaty bulldog stood in the sun. Stone Village swamp man, slow motion run. Tender police walker, precious birthday fudge, swamp knife, bull nail, walking underneath and Harpua. He couldn't care fewer. It happens all the time. We beat Okibo, me and Harpua. We couldn't care fewer. It happens all the time. We beat Okibo. Hot licking stone jack, bitter toothless flesh, shabby temples, shin side, evil milky rash, and Harpua, spastic dead-eyed hound, oozing dreadlock skull cap. Coming to your town.
We'll help you party down.
Yeah, Harpua. We couldn't care fewer. It happens all the time. We beat Okibo. Me and Harpua. We couldn't care fewer. It happens all the time. We beat Okibo. It's New Year's Eve tonight, the dawning of the new year, and I'm going to tell you a little story now about a New Year's Eve ritual that takes place in a different place than where we are right now. And this has to do, of course, with the ugly dog Harpua, his miserable master who has no name, and a little boy named Jimmy. And the music goes like this. Well, most of the time, as you know, when the story happens, you've got Jimmy and you've got the old man up in the woods. Well, every year on New Year's Eve, the people in the town that Jimmy lives in all get together because this is no ordinary town. This town is a special town that has a special kind of magic around it. And every year on New Year's Eve, all the people in the town get together to summon up the spirits of the new year and try to create this new good feeling. So every year this happens, and it always just happens to happen in Jimmy's apartment. So come with us now to Jimmy's apartment, over hill and over dale and over the woods and over the hills and far away and all that stuff. And we come to the little suburban town where Jimmy's apartment. And this year, everybody's there. Even the old man who owns Harpua has come down out of the woods, the evil old man. Normally he's looking around for trouble and trying to make trouble. But this year, because of this gathering, he's gotten together with Jimmy. So they're all in their room now. You've got Jimmy and Jimmy's friends. There's about 15 people, all the main people in town. And you've got Harpua, the ugly dog, sitting there, the miserable dog, and you've got sitting next to Jimmy his faithful feline, the unnamed kitty cat. Okay, so here they're all sitting around, and every year they call up the spirits of the new year, and they have a huge iron trough of stew boiling and bubbling over, and steam is coming out of it, and they're all holding hands and walking around this huge pot. It's a cauldron, a bubbling cauldron and they're walking around, they're saying this and they're saying that, all kinds of chants, and Jimmy, who normally is an innocent little boy, his eyes are opening and bloodshot coming out, and he's looking into the thing, and spirits rising, steam coming out of the cauldron, turning into the faces of old people long since dead from years ago, and everybody bubbling up, and they're throwing this thing and that thing into the stew. They're throwing all kinds of stuff, and everybody's there. Reba's there throwing her stuff into the stew, and they're all there, and they look down at the stew, and they're circling over, and so the stew is bubbling along. And you hear the bubbling, and that's the sound of the spirits coming up. It's the sound of the spirits coming up out of the stew. They start to bubble together. The spirits are rising out of the cauldron. All the spirits of the dead and passed away people that have grown, and Jimmy and all the things that Jimmy's listened to the stereo all those different times. The spirits rising out of friends and neighbors, and they're all looking around, and suddenly out of the middle of the cauldron starts to bubble, and out of it comes the main spirit that they're trying to lift, and they're bubbling along, and they're looking, and they're trying to lift it. The bubbles start to come up bigger and slower, and slowly a horrible, ugly creature starts to rise out of the cauldron. An ugly, awful creature with a white frock on, with eyeballs sticking all over it, comes up and starts to chant the ancient words of New Year's Eve. He rises out of the cauldron.
Rich in minerals. Coon! Rich in birth. King Will in Martin Land. Will we kill the pedestal? Vermin, fourth, Mayor Vermin, fifth. Forever a realm we curl, be it ever so voraciously alternate. We call upon your bolt! Can we stare? Can we stall? We can stage a runaway golf cart marathon. Stand up! Stand up on your heels and call from the hills! From the hills!
From the hills. And then the ugly apparition starts to disappear back into the awful cauldron and disappear, and the people all start to dance around in a circle holding hands. Jimmy and everyone dancing around the circle, thanking everyone for all the things that they love on this New Year's Eve, all the people that they have and how happy they are to have all the different great things. And the evil old man looks down, he says, "Oh, Harpua, I'm so happy to have you." And then he opens the door and lets Harpua go out for a walk because Harpua is sick of this. And all the people and they're thanking, and Jimmy looks down and he says, "Oh, I love my stereo, and I love this, and I love everything, but most of all, I love my beautiful little kitty cat. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you. It's so warm and furry, and cuddle up with me in my bed at night.
Bastard Nutbag! 'Cause 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 'cause
Nutbag. Poster Nutbag, you furry feline creature. Why don't you go for a walk too? And he opens the door and lets Poster Nutbag go out for a walk. And Poster Nutbag goes out for a walk, and the door slowly swings closed, and the ritual continues, and they start to break out all the other implements of ritualistic implements that they bring out every year, and they break them out. And meanwhile, the New Year's ritualistic implement party goes on backstage. Wherever it happens, in the room, behind the door, out here, I don't know. All right, so anyway, Poster Nutbag is walking outside and trotting along and enjoying the moon and the stars, the trees, the rocks, the grass, pavement, stone, cars, skyline, skyscrapers, buildings, and looking around, and he's thinking, oh, what a wonderful world. And suddenly, he sees Harpua is over behind that tree. Maybe if I just stand here and don't move, he won't notice that I'm standing here. Maybe if that guy over there blows his trombone, then Harpua will disappear. Harpua looks over and they see each other. Maybe if you blow that silly thing you're blowing, Harpua will disappear. It doesn't work though. Harpua's looking back, and they're treading each other's ground. They're looking at each other. Poster Nutbag realizes that most dogs are afraid of cats. Really, dogs think they're tough, but then they run up at cats and then they run away because cats are actually meaner. So Poster Nutbag decides to stand her ground and stand there. Harpua doesn't even budge. Harpua is meaner than most dogs. Poster Nutbag's getting a little bit scared, and Harpua starts to walk forward, slowly, step by step, 1 foot in front of the other. Ugly, meat, gross slime coming out of its nose. Poster Nutbag, and they're head to head, and suddenly Poster Nutbag looks at Harpua and sees a tiny drop of saliva dripping off of Harpua's lip. It's too late. There's no time to get away. Run! Poster Nutbag! Run! Run, Poster Nutbag! Oh my God! It's too late! Look! The storm's gone. Jimmy?
Yes, Dad?
Jimmy, I have some bad news.
What is it, Dad?
It's about your cat.
You mean my cat, Poster Nutbag?
Your cat died!
Oh, Poster is dead. Poster is dead. Poster's so dead.
How about a goldfish?
I don't want a goldfish. I don't want a goldfish. I don't want a goldfish. I want a dog.
There's a dog in the station with an ugly mutation, and it needs lubrication each day. There's a dog in the station contemplating rotation as a form of recreation and play. A dog. There's a dog in the station with a bad reputation. It's a sign of the nation's decay. But the dog in the station doesn't need a vacation as the people rush by dressed in gray.